Right, welcome back again. So, as I said you in my last video, I've created a data store. I'm going to use that created data store to install a virtual machine. You can see here, we got no virtual machines. I can create a new virtual machine. So I can go click create a new virtual machine and click next. And you can provide a name for this one. I can say Windows 10. If that's a Windows operating system, then you can say Windows 10, and you're going to use Windows ESXi. Sorry, you're going to use the ESXi 7.6.7, and the guest operating system family is Windows, and the version I'm going to use is Windows 10. Right, next, and I'm going to use the data store too. As I said in my previous video, I'm going to use my newly created data store to host my virtual machines. Next, you can say 1 CPU, 4 GB RAM, 32 GB hard disk size, and then virtual net adapter. Here I need to provide the image file to install the operating system. If you look at it here, CD-ROM, right? This has got a virtual CD-ROM, but there is no disk attached to that. So I have to have an image file here. So I need to upload some image file first of all to create the virtual machine. So I'm going to click upload, right? So when you click upload, this will show me all the files that I have on my computer. I'm going to go into my host machine. In my host machine, I got a Windows 10 operating system, and I'm uploading that Windows 10 operating system. So you can see it's just uploading on the top. Once it reach 100%, that's my ISO file is going to be in my data store. I'm going to use that ISO file to create and install the virtual machine. So this may take up to maybe 2 to 3 minutes to upload the ISO file. Depends on the cables or depends on the connectors you're using. I got here SSD hard disk with the USB-C connector, so it shouldn't take so much time. It should go pretty fast, and you can see it's already 22%. Once it's completed, we'll go from there. So until it's complete, let's wait here. So I'm going to pause and then we'll continue once it's uploaded. Alright, welcome back. So you can see now it's almost at 98-99% and it's already uploaded. Right, so that's all what we need. So we have got the Windows 10 image file. I'm going to select the Windows 10 image file and then I'm going to continue. So you need to be very careful. You must select the image file here to install the operating system. Otherwise what happens is when you power on the virtual machine, it will say the operating system is not found. So we have selected the image file and everything is good. I'm going to click next and finish. Once it's done, you can see the virtual machine is successfully created. I'm going to click the virtual machine. I'm going to click on power on. So once I click on power on, I can go into console to see what's happening on this virtual machine. You can see, click any key to install or boot from CD's DVD. I press the spacebar. Now my virtual machine is getting ready. So I'm installing Windows 10 now in my ESXi 6.7. Click install now. So what happens now, it's creating a virtual machine inside the ESXi. I'm going to skip the license here. This is a trial version, so I'm just going to skip the license and click next, accept, next. Custom installation, you can go choose whatever the way you want to install. It's Windows operating system installation, so I'm not going to go into that. So now it's copied the files, it's getting the files ready to install the operating system. Once it's done, it will start the installation and will complete everything. So once it's all installed, let's see what we can do after that. So I'm going to wait here a couple more minutes until we complete the installation. Once everything is done, we will go and access this virtual machine and see how we can work with this virtual machine. So again, I'm going to pause the video here and we'll come back once it's completed. Right, you can see now the operating system installation has completed and it's rebooting the virtual machine. Once the virtual machine is rebooted, then it will ask you to create the user account, which is a common standard process on Windows operating system, right? This is nothing to do with the virtualization. That is a standard process you will follow to complete the Windows operating system installation. It could be any Windows operating system that you have to follow this commands practice. So I'm going to wait here to get the boot screen. Once we get the boot menu, I'm going to choose, I'm sure that it will ask you to configure a new user account. I'm going to create a new user account and continue from there. So it's getting ready now. So once it's done, we will move on to the next process. All right. All right, there we go. The Windows 10 is almost ready, right? So it's about to just start the operating system. Once the operating system screen, boot up screen there, we will continue from there. There you go. I don't have any key, right? I'll do this later, and I'll use the express setting. If your computer has got an internet connection, it will keep on trying to get the keys from Microsoft website. So this is sort of called offline activation. So you can choose to do offline activation or online activation. But since it's mine is a virtual machine, since my operating system is a trial machine, so it's not going to really get activated. So I skip the process, right? Right. So it's completing. Wait for a couple of minutes here. Just a pretty Windows standard time that takes to complete the operating system. So that's nothing to do with the virtual machine performance or anything. Whether you install it on a physical machine or on a virtual machine, you still see this delay. You can say it's getting ready. Still we have to wait. Right, so it is asking about the access details. So I'm going to say whether you have a workspace or whether it's on it. So if you have got a Microsoft account, you can use this one. Otherwise, you will use the first one. Next. Right, join Active Directory. No, that's not the one. So the reason in here, this virtual machine got an internet connection. So it's trying to connect to internet to get the activation. So I shouldn't do that part. I don't want to do this using Microsoft account. The best option for me to do it, just remove the internet connection, right? Or you can see this option, skip this step, right? So if you skip the step, that will just go and create a local profile or local user without using a Microsoft account. So I'm going to say Win10 password, retype the password and click next. Hint next. Right, so Windows 10 is ready. So that's the process to create a virtual machine in ESXi server. So what I've done, I've gone through 3 different videos. On my first video, I showed you how to install ESXi 6.7. Once the ESXi 6.7 is installed, I have done few customization. I've showed you some of the customizations that you can do, but it's not really must to do. But you can do if you want to really customize your ESXi server, especially for security levels and time synchronization and all these things, you can do that. And then in the third one, this is the third video. In this video, I've done 2 things. I've created data store. Then I use that created data store to create and store virtual machine. For me to create the virtual machine, I have to upload the image file. So I have uploaded the image file of Windows 10 into my new data store. Then I created the virtual machine and installed. So you'll have to follow the whole step to create a virtual machine, right? So this is going to take few more minutes to complete the basic settings of Windows. Once it's done, I'll show you the virtual machine. Right, now you can see it's all configured and it detected there is an Ethernet adapter. The Ethernet adapter, keep in mind, connected to my virtual switch. My virtual switch is connected to the virtual network adapter. Virtual network adapter is in NAT mode, that is connected to my physical computer network adapter. So that's sort of like nested connections. Don't worry about that part. I'm not going to really go into that now. We will do it later on. So just confirm the IP address on this machine. So let's do an IP config and see what's the IP address. So you can see 200.130. My ESXi server has got 200.129, and here we have got 200.130 as an IP address. Right. So this computer has got internet connection, of course, because you can see it got the same NAT gateway 200.2. Of course, then it can go to internet to connect, or it can go to internet and access them, right? If I go back to host machine, right, I'm just going to close this one. That doesn't mean I'll shut down the virtual machine. I'm just close the console access. You can see now the CPU usage has increased, memory usage has increased, and the free storage has gone down. And if I scroll down, I can see this has got a virtual network adapter, right? So this is my virtual network, right? The one that using on my virtual machines. So physical adapter, this is the one connected to my physical computer, and you can see virtual machines are connected to that virtual switch, and then the virtual switch is connected to my physical network adapter. If you got multiple network adapters, then you can create multiple vSwitch virtual switches. We will learn distributed switches and different concepts later on. For that, we need to have another virtual ESXi host, and then we need to have a vCenter. So that's the next level. So we are now doing a single host-based virtualization. If you got multiple ESXi hosts, then we can create or we can manage them through vCenter server. The vCenter server can have a distributed virtual switch. When you have distributed virtual switch, you can migrate or you can move virtual machine from one host to the other host. We call it as a live migration or vMotion. So we can move the virtual machines across to host machines. Those are second or next level configurations. We will do it later on. Once we complete the basic stuff, then we will go into the next level. So this is the virtual machine. Here we have the virtual network adapter. Now you can see this is your management adapter. That's to manage the ESXi host. And here we have VM network. So VM network has got all the network adapters, and you can go click edit and you can configure security. What you can do with the MAC address Prometheus mode and MAC address changes. So if you do this, if you accept these changes, what happens when the virtual machines change the MAC address, it won't then connect to your network because it tried to see somebody spoofing with the MAC address and it's refused. So we can do these kind of settings for security. And also if you got multiple network interface card, you can create NIC teaming and you can do traffic shaping as well. So those are some of the next level configurations. Of course we will do it, but not now, right? So this is virtual switch, physical network adapter, VM kernel NIC. So that's the one for management purpose, right? VM kernel is for the management one. Virtual switch is to manage your normal virtual machines. TCP/IP stack, and then firewall rules, what to permit, what to deny. So those basic things. So under virtual machines, now you can see I got one virtual machine, and that is running. And also, you know that virtual machine has got an IP address. Since I have got an IP address, I should be able to remote desktop into that virtual machine, as long as if the firewall is not being blocked. So I'm going to use the IP address 192.168.200.130 in 10. Yeah, 123. There you go. It's ready, and now I can connect to my virtual machine. So you can see here, this is the virtual machine that I have got connected to, and I'm working on it. So you can now remote desktop into the virtual machine as well, right? So of course I turned on the firewall. That's not the best practice. Keep in mind you can enable just the 3389 port number, but just to show you guys, I turned off the firewall. So for the credential security, Oracle credential CREST SS, what you can do is you can go into the machine where you are remote desktoping from and remove the vulnerability level, right? Or otherwise you need to make sure that both the virtual machines must be updated. So anyway, so that's how you can fix the error message.